What is going on, everybody? It's the France, and we're here for NXT review for July 17th, 2019. We are all done with the first round of the breakout tournament as of today, as well as Adam Cole putting his title on the line for the first time since winning it in NXT TakeOver 25. We also had Apollo Crews with Kushida and Matt Riddle in action. But before we get to that, the news broke, I believe, yesterday that several superstars in NXT have got name change, which this has been a big thing. We, for the longest time, WWE has taken superstars' names, wrestlers' names, and changed them. But for a while there, the likes of Kushida keeps his name, of course. Samoa Joe. Think of other ones on hand. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong, Austin Aries when he was there. They all get to keep their name. Shinsuke Nakamura got to keep his name, and so on and so forth. It's not common to see everyone keep their name, but some do. And now WWE has changed the name of several superstars. The following have gotten their names. Stokely Hathaway is now Malcolm Bivens, which is Stokely Hathaway, is Courtney Moore. Courtney Moore. Brennan Williams is now called Dio Madden with an E-I instead of an E, which he's had his name for a good while. I've seen things of him for a while. Dan Matha is now called Dorian Mack, M-A-K. MJ Jenkins is now Monique Jenkins, which I'm pretty sure that's what the M and MJ stand for. I could be wrong. Nick Cormoralto is now Nick Ogorella. Robert Strauss, aka Robbie E, is now Robert Stone. Rachel Evers. This one is one that I think should have never happened in the first place. Rachel Ellering is finally back to being Rachel Ellering. They changed her name to Evers for the first Mae Young Classic. Didn't sign her after the first Mae Young Classic for whatever reason. I believe she was in the second one as well, still under Rachel Evers. And now they finally give her name back. If Charlotte can have flair to her last name, Rachel Ellering should be allowed to be called Rachel Ellering. Sorry, it's one that I think should have been changed back to her real name a long time ago, unless she really wanted to be Evers. But I think she should be able to be Ellering. And the 3.0 tag team, formerly known as Scott Parker and Shane Matthews, are Jeffrey Parker and Matthew Menard Lee, which I believe are their real names. So that is the new names of superstars in NXT now. So WWE again running out there and changing names. Of course, as we know, and it has been confirmed that they don't just say, hey, you're gonna be this. The Stokely Hathaway, which was Robbie E, I believe. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Robert Strauss, which was Robbie E, is like, we're gonna call you Robert Stone. You don't have any say in it. No, superstars get to go out there and give their name change, and they get to have a say in their name change. So good on them, and let's see how those go. I'm just really happy to see Rachel Ellering not being told that no, you can't use your last name, even though Charlotte could be a Flair, and there's others who've used their family last name, but she wasn't. So great to see that. This was the final match of the breakout tournament tonight with Dexter Lumis, aka Sham Shaw, versus Bronson Reed, aka or FKA Jonah Rock. Matt Riddle versus Arturo Ruas, a new name for, I can't remember who it was beforehand, but it was somebody we've seen before, but he has a new name, he has a new gimmick, he has a black karate outfit on with a black belt. This was the closest we have ever seen to an MMA UFC shoot style fight in all of WWE. This one had them sizing up. They should have had MMA gloves on, and we could have just had an MMA fight here because this is what this felt like. They touched tips like that before the fight, before the match. It wasn't a match. This was literally an MMA fight. Power slam, cross arm breaker attempts, guillotine attempts. He had Ruiz break out and make a couple moves here. We had kicks. Ruiz got kicked in the back of the head for a second. Matt Riddle got kicked a couple times too. The match comes to an end as Matt Riddle hits a nasty knee strike on Ruiz. And just like it would be if he was in the octagon, he just mounts the guy and just starts laying in the fucking haymakers. Referee has to stop. I think she waited a little too long. Referee stoppage is the end of the match, and the winner is Matt Riddle. Nothing special, but again, if you're looking for WWE X UFC, this is the closest you have ever seen to a legit MMA fight, and quite honestly, I'm not surprised. And it was actually not a bad. It was fun to watch and see a different type of styles. The crowd didn't shit on it. The crowd actually, when these guys got to a stalemate and got back to defeat, the crowd actually sat there and gave them a round of applause. So good on them. And if they want to do a rematch somewhere down the line after Riaz has been around for a while, let's get it more of the MMA style. Put it in a cage match if you want to. Make it an MMA match if you want to. And I think it would be interesting. Matt Riddle celebrating him. All of a sudden, a big, hefty masked man comes out and just wallops on Matt Riddle. Pulls the mask off after Nigel McGuinness was like, oh, we need to get security out here. Pulls the mask off. Fans see who it is first. Fans go fucking ballistic. Finally shows it on the... He finally takes himself to the camera, and it's Killian Dane. He continues to beat up Riddle, running senton at the senton, runs Riddle into the ring post. Running lariat on the outside, throws more punches and kicks, another running senton by the ramp, kicks Riddle towards the stage, another running senton going back up to, he sends him up to the stage area, running senton sends Matt Riddle and Killian Dane crashing through the set itself, and that was that. Crowd booing, like the crowd was booing before they knew who it was, crowd had a big huge pop when they knew who it was, and then that led to what we had there. So Killian Dane is back in NXT. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about maybe this was Matt Riddle's punishment for his attack, his verbal assault on Goldberg during the during Super Showdown. People need to just get that shit out of there. That had nothing to do with this. This is just Killian Dane going after one of the big names in NXT and be like, hey, I'm not starting at the bottom, motherfuckers. I'm in the mix with things, and that's what we're going to see here. When Killian Dane was in NXT 2-3 years ago, I wanted this guy to get a championship opportunity, a singles championship opportunity. After War Games 1 2 years ago, I wanted this guy. I was like, this guy needs a singles run. And now that he's on his own, he's going to get that single run, and I cannot wait to see what happens. NXT Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits with the latest Street Talk. They're sitting down this time, chillaxing. They get the NXT Tag Team titles. They're being embarrassingly bad on Monday Night Raw, but that's not their fault. Ford says the Undisputed Era think they own the place and that the tag team titles are theirs. Dawkins says they are the champs, and if the Undisputed Era don't think they are serious about their titles, how come they didn't win them at TakeOver? He says they can come for the titles, but the Street Profits will still be champs, and that is undisputed. And the look that Montez Ford gives him is just like, he literally goes, like, I can't do it justice, but dude, like, he just had that look of, oh shit, did you just say that? Even though it wasn't that big of a oh shit moment. Then they show us some fan footage from a recent house show recent house show footage from outside the parking lot where Mia Yim finds Marina Shafir and just beats the living fuck out of her car. Marina Shafir is sitting like this, just sitting there normally, like after getting beat down, and she takes the front of the door of the car and just shoves it straight into Marina Shafir, and Marina Shafir is taken out of it as she gets closer to wanting to take Shayna Baszler's title. I'm sure we'll see something again for Jessamine Duke next week or the week after that. As we get closer to TakeOver, it's looking like Mia Yim is going to be the next challenger for Shayna Baszler going to take over Toronto. Will they take the title off of Baszler and move her up after Toronto? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but I don't think that would be a smart idea, but we'll have to wait and see. Dexter Lumis versus Bronson Reed. Of course, this is Sam Shaw and Joan of Rock. Sam Shaw is definitely, like, Dexter Lumis is... I remember him back in his TNA days when he was Samuel Shaw. He was the guy who wore the long sleeves with the black gloves. He had that creeper stalker look. He was like stalking Christy Hemme, I believe. And then he had, which is kind of funny because his tag team partner at the time, or his friend at the time, Gunner, is now in NXT as being part of the Forgotten Sons. But he comes out, just has the gloves on. He doesn't have no shirt or anything. He just walks down with this. I can't do the look at all. I don't think anyone can do it. But this guy has like this mesmerizing and creepy ass look walking down the ring, getting in the ring, and fans didn't know what to take of him at the beginning, but they did warm up to Dexter Lumis. Guy with got three with a shoulder tackle. Lumis kips up immediately. Lumis sends him in the outside. Lumis with a front flip to the floor. Reed finally fights back and after a bit. Dexter Lumis had this the neck wrench like this on Bronson Reed. All of a sudden, while he's doing that, he puts his head down and takes a lick. He actually licks Bronson Reed on the face, and I'm like, that is just so disgusting. I'm glad I wasn't eating anything at the time. But crowd with the Dexter chant after a good while. Lumis with a belly to the back suplex, kip up, leaping frog, leg drop, all in one motion. Belly to back, kip up, leg drop, all in one motion. Beautiful cover for a 2. Lumis heads up to the top rope, goes for a senton. Reed moves out of the way, lifts and drops Lumis onto the mat and hits a splash for the 1, 2, 3. Bronson Reed is into the final four. Final four with Cameron Grimes, Angel Garza, and the guy who won last week. I can't remember who it was, but yeah. Those are the final four. They did not mention a match for the breakout tournament next week, so I think next week is a break from the breakout tournament because we still have 3 weeks left and only have 2 matches. Due to the finals will probably be at TakeOver, so we're going to take probably a break from the breakout tournament, and we'll have that in 2 weeks. Kathy Kelly's with Tyler Breeze asking him what he's playing at next after losing to Roderick Strong. Breeze says it seems like everyone in NXT has a group who they have friends or someone to watch their back, so he needs to either adapt and before he could finish that, the Forgotten Sons show up and tell him this is NXT. This is not his NXT. This is a new NXT where men are now. Breeze says, I'm a man. Can you see this beard right here? He has this 5 o'clock shadow type beard. Says, I haven't been here for a while, but it's good to see you too. And then he looks at Jackson Maker and is like, aren't you Buddy Murphy? But Jackson Maker walks up too, gets in his face. The others hype Riker up and says, he's a man that Breeze has never seen before. And Breeze says, guess what, boys? I've seen everything, and walks away. So it looks like we're going to get Jackson Maker versus Tyler Breeze eventually. It was not mentioned for next week, so there's no doubt on that. Last week, Io Shirai cut her first promo after turning on Candice, and she doesn't need friends and all that. And next week, we'll have Io Shirai versus Casey Catanzaro. Now, the next match is Kushida versus Apollo Crews. And with the length that this match went, told me that the Adam Cole title match was not going to happen or was going to be against a jobber just to, make fun of. I was like, oh, I'm a fighting champion, but here's a jobber for me to fight. That's what I thought was going to happen. We'll talk about what happened in a bit. Kushida versus Apollo Crews, definitely a great match. Definitely a different set of styles compared to what Drew Gulak did with Kushida. Definitely Kushida had to adapt to the powerhouse game of Apollo Crews. Crews with the military press, he lifts left arm, giving him trouble. Kushida with a reverse STO, sending Crews into the corner. Kushida with a springboard, Hurricane Rana, but Crews rolls into a pin. 2 count, both land kicks and both are down. Crews up to the top. Kushida catches him and heads up, but gets knocked down. He charges up for a handspring heel strike. Kushida up on the top rope with Crews. It looks like they might go for a Spanish fly, but no. He flips Crews and gets him into an armbar in this entire sequence. I'm like, holy shit. What a move. Finally gets him wrestled around and gets him in the Sakuraba lock for the tap out, and Kushida is your winner. Definitely a good match. Definitely wasn't a squash match of any kind. I'd like to see Kushida where we're going to go with him. I think the showcase of Kushida needs to end. It's time to get this guy into a storyline of something serious. I would like to see him go after TakeOver Toronto, be the next challenger for the North American Championship. That's on me. That's on my opinion. I think we wait if we're ever going to give him an NXT Championship opportunity, but I think he should get an NXT North American Championship shot or be in that title picture coming out of TakeOver Toronto. Kathy Kelly is backstage with Keith Lee, asking him about the year that he's had so far, and he says, well, he's had some stop. No, you mean about the stops and starts that I've had? And when he heard about, and one thing about this place I've been told is about opportunities, and all he heard about were opportunities were going to be just laid out in front of him. And he felt like he's been passed over more by other new guys instead of anything happened for him. And now we have this 8-man tournament with the winner getting a future title shot. Also something that didn't happen when I started. He says, we also have this new guy. His name is Damian Priest. It's the name that everyone is talking about, but maybe he needs to change the narrative so people aren't talking about Priest, but they're talking about me. That's a good idea. He goes into the men's locker room, and next week it'll be Damian Priest versus Keith Lee. That should be an awesome match. I don't know if Punishment Martinez and Keith Lee have ever wrestled before again. I'm pretty sure they have. But this should be a damn good match. If Keith Lee and Punishment Martinez, aka Damian Priest, have had matches before, let me know in the comment section below what you thought of them. We go to the ring, and out comes Adam Cole for his NXT Championship title match. He's on the mic and says he's been traveling the globe the past few weeks on his championship tour. He's showing the morons of the NXT universe what a champion looks like and what true power is. While he's been gone, his stablemates have been taking care of business like no one else can. Then he says he'll put this title on the line. Not just anyone, it doesn't mean I don't want to be a fighting champion. In fact, I'll put my title on the line tonight. And says I'll put it on the title against this man. Points to the Tron, and it shows when Johnny Gargano was at Cleveland when he was champion or whatever it was. Twan Tucker, who met Johnny Gargano when Gargano came to the gym in his hometown to talk a bunch of wrestlers. Cole invites him out, and Tucker heads to the ramp and says, Cole, it's just him out here, and maybe Tucker will get a chance to take him out. Tucker then asks if he's really two of them, if it's really the two of them because he didn't come alone. And boom, Rebel Hearts plays, and Johnny Gargano comes out, which they I think him showing up at Evolve kind of ruined this big moment. Yes, Johnny Gargano did show up at Evolve last Saturday night. I think they should have held that off and kept it for tonight. Gargano, she tries to head through the crowd. Gargano follows and continues to attack. They beat the hell out of each other. Cole heads up through the crowd. Gargano follows and continues to swing away. Cole keeps trying to get away from Gargano and finally lands a back elbow, but Gargano launches into a barricade and leaps on the champion. Throwing more shots on him, referee finally show up and move Gargano away. Cole raises up the title and taunts Gargano. Gargano on the stage finally runs over and leaps crossbody on the Cole. I don't think Cole was ready because that looked like a terrible landing. The two make their way back to the ring. Gargano lands a super kick, another kick to the face, and then locks in the Gargano escape. Cole taps out as the referee tried to yank Gargano off of Cole. Puts up the three fingers, and he's on the ramp. It's like 3. He wants that rubber match. Now, after the show, on their Twitter page, which, by the way, Twitter, I don't know what the hell you thought you were thinking about that with your forcing us to change to a new Twitter, but you need to change it back to the old one. But anyway, on their Twitter account, NXT puts a exclusive, which they need to stop doing WWE.com exclusives. It should be NXT, Twitter exclusive or whatever. But they ask him what's going to happen with what happened on the Chaotic End of NXT this week. And William Regal pretty much pointed out like this. He thought he had a good solution, but this is what we're going to do. At NXT TakeOver Toronto, it will be Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole for the 3rd time in another 2 out of 3 falls. But, and before he even mentioned anything else, I'm like, a 2 out of 3 falls again? That's what the first match was. But, this is different. It'll be 3 falls. However, Cole names one stipulation, Gargano names another stipulation, and if it goes to the 3rd and deciding fall, William Regal will decide the stipulation. I want Hell in a Cell. The 3rd and final fall must be Hell in a Cell. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't want a cage match. I don't want anything else. It's Hell in a Cell. You could have a last man standing match. You could have a falls count anywhere match. You could have a submission match, which I think is what Gargano is going to go with. I want the 3rd and final fall to be a Hell in a Cell. Plain and simple. It is like the one stipulation match that is still used today in WWE, other than maybe a TLC, even though we've had ladder matches, that we have not seen in NXT. It's time we see a Hell in a Cell match. This is warranted, and if it is 3 stages of hell, it is time to give us Hell in a Cell. But that is your NXT review. This was a pretty good episode. The breakout tournament, I hope, picks up in the second round because the first round have seen good spotlights, but I think we need to see a lot more time for these last two matches before we get to NXT TakeOver. They've had good spots, but it's like the men in the match have not been able to showcase everything they can do, and I hope we get to see more of them in the next round for the four who have made it. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video, follow me on twitch.tv/TheFranceClub, follow me on Twitter @TheFranceClub, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, or this weekend, for our next episode of Unscripted. Yes, we will have an episode this week. I took last week off, wasn't feeling the greatest. Feeling good now, but until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.